cheers to another episode of the Wine Notes Podcast. I'm your guide, AJ Winezettel, on this journey of stories showcasing the people behind the wonderful world of wine, where we dive into conversations ranging from terroir, viticulture, to favorite music, superpowers, and more. Please enjoy this episode of the Wine Notes Podcast. Dan, Jeanne, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. For finally, we get some sun out there and like, holy cow.
Fantastic.
Maybe we should be doing this outside.
That would be nice, but maybe a little bit too much background noise.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I did bring a little bit of wine for today, so I will pass it over and let you pour a little bit.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It was so difficult to try to figure out a wine that will relate to everybody. And I tried to find something. I mean, I was like, oh, I got to bring bubbles. But I didn't know what bubbles to bring. I did have one, and I'm like, no. So I brought this one, and I thought it might have a couple possible connections. If you want to talk about it, you're more than... you can. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine too. I will say that I haven't had this wine until about an hour ago. I came upon a very good recommendation. So I think you'll probably find that it's young. It's wound tight. Mm-hmm. That's what I was told. I was told to hold on to it, but the connection, I thought, might hold a good little thing.
Cool. I'm curious to know what
It's tasty.
It is very good.
Yeah. We'll start off. So last summer, I noticed that you all had the Kickstarter version of Throw Burrito.
Oh, yeah.
Very observant.
And so I'm curious, who is the Onion fan? Who isn't the Onion fan? Are both of you the Onion fan? Like, how did you get the Kickstarter version?
I believe that this started with Christmas presents. Dan's brother, Matt, and his family really love games. And they have two young boys, our nephews, who are... they're 7 and 8 right now. So
right.
This was a couple years ago. They were a little younger, and so games that they can play that they're both into. Throwing burritos really felt right for that. So I think I was looking for something that they'd be into.
Okay.
And then it looked like so much fun that we had to have our own.
It is fun, and
it's
there's other versions of it. There's a whole backyard version.
Oh,
That
wow. I
seems
haven't
safer.
seen that one.
And you'll literally, the burritos are like 3 and 4 feet wide.
Well, I know what they're
Awesome.
getting this Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I noticed about a month or so ago, they came out with burrito tortilla shell shields.
Wow, cool.
Incredible.
So now you get, burritos coming your way, you can like block it. And it's just...
That's perfect. We played
love
it
it.
one time inside the house, and we almost destroyed the house.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That would...
People chasing each other down the hallway there. It was great
a lot
fun,
of
though.
It is a lot of fun. I love the Exploding Kittens company.
Yeah, we also have the Exploding Kittens. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I follow the guy on Twitter. He's a good time.
He is. He's really good. I got my daughter sucked into Exploding Kittens, and we'll have, between the two of us, like a half an hour epic game. And it's just like, okay, I'm just going to draw and draw and draw and draw.
Yeah.
And right before the pandemic, they were going to have like an Exploding Kittens convention in Portland.
I don't know how we missed
Yes.
this. We would have been there.
I had tickets, and it was in like March or April, and of course they had to shut it down. And I've just...
People like dress up.
I guess they're going to dress up. I would have dressed up. I mean, it was the first one ever. And it was kind of like themed of like Burning Man, and they were going to have like a big old cat that they were going to set on fire or something.
It's 2023. It's time to bring that back.
It is so time.
Yeah.
They definitely need to bring that back. We have to go back in time. So you were at a bar drinking a whiskey.
Oh, yes, we are going back in time.
I think it was the last word, actually.
Nope, it was a Sazerac.
A Sazerac. Oh, yes.
And you walked up to Jeanne at the bar.
Nope,
No?
not quite.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
walked up to the bar that I was
Right.
at, and he sat down and started talking to me pretty much right away. Maybe you should tell the story.
Oh, I don't know. How much of the story are we getting into?
It's totally up to you. All I know is that the bartender totally ignored you.
He did. And I was with another guy that I met earlier in the day. And we talked to Jeanne for a little while, and we convinced her to come out with us and drink some bubbles. So
Yes, that is what happened.
Very nice. How much bubbles were consumed? And
More than should have been consumed.
I take
probably.
the fifth.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy night.
That's
we were in our 20s.
But that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have some fun in San Francisco in your 20s.
We did that. Yes.
Yes. Oh, which kind of leads me into like the dinner parties.
Okay.
If I'm understanding correctly, you went to your first supper club in Paris.
That's correct.
And just I'm exploring like Midwest supper clubs right now.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So what was the supper club in Paris? What was that like?
I mean, it was essentially an underground restaurant. So
Right.
I forget the chef's name, but this one actually became fairly famous, and I went, and it was an amazing meal, but it was also really intimate with all these other people there, and got to chat and meet everybody, and it was just a lot of fun. So when I met Jeanne and was trying to get her to date me, I was like, how can I get Jeanne to spend more time with me?
Right.
I was like, let's start a supper club.
And the way he pitched it to me was, we can buy lots of fancy kitchen equipment. And I said, I'm totally in for that.
So the fancy kitchen equipment, I mean, with your mom being so much into baking and doing stuff, is that kind of like what drew you in because kind of growing up in that environment?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely come from a food family. We are the family that sits down to breakfast and talks about what we're going to cook for dinner.
Okay.
And our family text chat right now is called gardening competition because we all kind of got into gardening during the pandemic, and Dan named it that. My mom made most of our food when I was growing up. I mean, she makes bread, she makes jams. I remember going to the orchards in this area and picking fruit with her when I was a kid. Back before it was all sort of suburbs like it is now.
Right.
And so I always, it was always a given to me, kind of understanding where my food came from. Something I always cared a lot about. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just never knew anything else.
No, that's cool. So the very first supper club that you all did, was it as epic as trying to crush, your apples for the first time that weren't ripe enough?
It wasn't as much of a disaster as trying to crush the apples that weren't ready to be crushed.
Okay.
We did a first dinner for friends and family, and that was definitely a smart move.
Right.
It's really hard to get 12 plates to a table all hot at the same time. Turns out temperature was the hardest thing to do.
Right.
We kind of started with some friendly faces and started opening it up when they started asking to bring friends.
Nice. Do you know about how many times you did that? Was it like 20s, 50s, hundreds? I doubt it was hundreds.
Not hundreds.
Yeah. We did it over the span of 5 years, and there were some times when we did more dinners and sometimes when we did fewer. I don't know. We probably did
Dozens.
Yeah, probably in the 30 range.
That's fun.
For 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. How much of an influence was there in the wine side of things?
Yeah, that was certainly part of it. I mean, we did pairings for every course, and it was usually a 6-course meal.
Right.
And so we would find a wine for each course, and that was a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, tried to draw from sort of all the wine regions in the world. So we tried to bring in a lot of stuff that we hadn't tried before, and it was a good way to explore.
Wow, that's amazing. I hadn't heard all the details of the supper clubs before, so thank you. Still kind of going on. I gotta go on supper clubs a little bit. To me, Ternat is doing an amazing job. But besides, you're both like shaking your head. Yes.
We haven't been to one of their dinners,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yet, but it looks amazing.
On my
And
list.
everything we've heard,
So,
they sound amazing.
so you know that they're doing like full moon dinners.
Yes.
I went to the Pink Moon one earlier this month.
Cool.
It was amazing. And then in October, doing a week-long Croatia trip
Oh, nice.
for them. It's going to be, they're going to teach us how to cook on fire. And,
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. But besides Ternat, is there anybody else that you're aware of that's doing good supper clubs?
I don't know anybody out here.
Yeah, I don't either. I think the way that Ternat is doing them is different than the way that we did them. I mean, we were really like in a legal gray area, I think.
Well,
We were doing them at
I'm
our
sure.
house.
Right. It's kind of underground.
I think now there are lots of private chefs that are doing great events.
Right.
Stacy and Joey from Parallel PDX do some really fun events,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's kind of the direction it's gone. I love that chefs right now are doing creative things and they're trying new concepts, and it doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be a brick and mortar restaurant.
Right.
I think we're going to see a lot of really interesting stuff in the next few years.
Exactly. And in June, Okta is doing their solstice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get tickets?
We are actually going to be part of the event. Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday?
Definitely Sunday. We're still waiting on some of the details for Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I was like, and it was still 9 o'clock, boom, sold out.
Yeah.
So you
And
didn't get a ticket?
I got tickets for Sunday.
Oh, great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. After emailing them, I was like, but I was like right there.
Yeah.
And yes, so Sunday.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a great time.
Really
yeah,
excited about
I
it.
can't wait to see you. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So launched in 2020, and now we're like 3 years later. Holy cow! Like it seems like that you've done a great job of phase one of collecting all the underpants.
It was our goal in life. Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad to have that recognized.
Phase two, you are just going gangbusters.
Thank you.
And it's amazing to see. And in talking with some of the other industry people are looking up to you as like leaders, and it's
That's kind of scary.
well, you're blazing a trail, and it's absolutely wonderful to see. It really is.
I mean, we're super excited that more people are starting to make bubbles. That was part of the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That obviously it can't just be us doing this, and there are so many sites to explore and so many things that we can all learn about bubbles if everybody's kind of jumping in.
Yeah, and I think that phase two of question mark, right? I think it's been going on for quite some time. So I'm curious, the day that you called Jeanne and said, "Hey, do you still want to make wine?" I'm curious, like, were you at work, or were both of you at work and you got a call, and like, what? How was?
I was at work. I had been putting some inquiries in to get some fruit, and like I'm at my desk and I get a call and take it, and it's like, okay, and I say yes, but then I call Jeanne and it's like, do you still want some fruit? But I knew she would say yes. Like we love to do things and build things, and it just seemed like a crazy fun experiment. But
Yeah, and we started small. It didn't
Yeah.
feel quite as small when the grapes showed up, because 2 tons of grapes is like, I didn't know how to conceptualize that before
Right.
they showed up, and it looks like a lot of grapes.
It
it
does.
was maybe more than we needed for a experiment in the garage type of thing.
It definitely was a large experiment.
Right.
But it was, why not try something new,
You have to.
Yeah.
And that I know, coming from like the tech background, it's all about experimentation and whatnot. But growing up, was like, did your parents have any influence on that whole experiment mindset? Or just like, ooh,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents like own their own business, and my dad is very much a like go out and do it yourself type of person. Build things, accomplish accomplish things, like you can do anything type of thing. I mean,
Yeah, my dad's a software engineer, and so
Right.
he was always encouraging us to take stuff apart and see how it worked. And my mom is very creative. I mean, she bakes and cooks, obviously, but she's also very artistic and musical. And so my parents really encouraged me to pursue creative pursuits too. So
Right.
music and art and dance and all the things.
That's fun. So dance wise, I'm curious because I have a 14-year-old
Okay.
in ballet.
you can dance for us, Jeanne?
No, I took ballet and jazz when I was pretty young, and I stopped at the point where in ballet you get to a point where you get to move on to point shoes.
Right.
And my dance teacher pulled my mom aside and was like, she can't do point. Her ankles aren't flexible enough. And that is definitely true. I'm glad that she didn't let me try to do it. I think I would have really injured myself.
Right.
But yeah, that ended my dance career.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. No, but once you get into point, it's intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the culture of ballet is very intense.
Yes, it is. It's oof. So future experiments, like what are we getting into? Like I think I've heard like you talked about some reserved wines.
I mean, I feel like the vineyard is the big experiment right now.
For sure, yeah.
It's kind of taking everything that we've learned over the last few years working in the community here and trying to build something from the ground up for sparkling in terms of planting and how we approach the vineyard side of it.
I think the tricky thing about the vineyard is, and the tricky thing with any, sort of slow growing perennials that you plant and then you see what you kind of get out of it years later.
Yes.
And so we don't have a lot of cycles to spend on this, but, we're going to try and phase it out a little bit so we can, learn even more about what is happening at our specific site.
Right.
I think we have a pretty decent sense of how it will behave because Cattrall Brothers is just up the road, and we've been working with them since 2017. But yeah, other experiments.
Here's an experiment you might geek out on. So one of the blocks, well, we're doing some different Massal blocks in the vineyard, but one of them we're working with Foundation Plant Services in California.
Right.
And a lot of the champagne houses that had operations in California brought in a lot of like champagne clones, and for whatever reason they're not very like widely planted here, and they're kind of just in the nursery type of thing. A lot of them haven't even been brought up here, so we're building a Massal block with all of these different clones that have been imported, with the idea of like these are kind of sparkling clones.
Ooh.
And we'll be doing like some different trials and experiments with those, which is going to be fun, I think.
That would be very fun.
But
yeah.
Check back in like 8 years for the results.
Well, I know you have like a 50-year plan, so.
I mean, we called it our 50-year project.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That does not mean we have a 50-year plan.
Okay.
I mean, the plan is eventually we get to phase 3, but
Yeah, I mean, eventually, yeah. It all takes time. Yeah. So just in case, not everybody else knows, the last year you bought 57 acres in the Yola Amity Hills. You've, are in the process of getting the land ready. You got a fence up and...
Fence is not up yet.
Oh, fence. Oh, I thought the fence was...
all the
wait.
materials are on site.
Up until
Okay.
a couple days ago, it was mud just everywhere.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, this rain has been...
But
Yeah.
it's drying out quick.
Well, good.
So
Good. And hopefully this spring, maybe get some plants in the ground.
It's going to be a very busy next few months. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is... Now that it's sunny, it's all happening.
It's go time.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, vines are coming in 2 weeks now, and
Yeah. So I always spread a bunch of rumors about, people, making sparkling. You're obviously already making sparkling. So the rumor that I'm going to start spreading about you is that you're going to build 10 miles of underground cellars, of tunnels and everything. And yeah, you can have so many tunnels for everybody to explore and
we need one of those boring machines.
We do. The soil at our property is pretty rocky, and every time we have an excavation guy up there to look at it, they're like, this is going to be real expensive. There are a lot of rocks in here. So
Oh, no.
the idea of digging tunnels isn't like my favorite right now, but we'll see how, you never know where the future takes you.
All right. Well, some of the rumors will come true maybe in 8 years. So we'll see.
Stay tuned.
I assume, Jessica Cortell is helping.
Yep.
And on your website, you talk about, doing regenerative farming practices. Are you going to get certified or just like do biodynamic type practices?
I think the certification, the value is being able to tell people you're certified.
Right.
I think that, certainly we will adopt the practices. I don't know if getting certified is all that important to us.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we'll kinda see.
Yeah, and
It's a budget thing.
well, it's also it's like, it's hard to do everything from day one.
Right.
And there are a lot of things that, we'd like to do that you kind of have to layer in over time, particularly things like, using animals to help manage the property.
Right.
We can't do that on day one. So,
No.
We need some
Yeah,
time
'cause
to get
where
that.
we would put a barn still has stumps everywhere. So there's like just logistical factors
I mean,
involved. But yeah,
we just got our address like 2 weeks ago, so that's where we're at right now.
That's exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be essentially practicing organic and like no-till from day one.
Right.
And then, working to bring in animals, but we're kind of like still in that kind of like question mark of like, how do we actually do that? And talking to people and learning and.
Yeah.
We don't even have a vineyard dog yet.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to ask.
Okay, yeah.
That was the
I
next
figured
question
that's
of
where
like,
I was
where, what kind of vineyard dog are you going to get?
Well,
Is
we've
it
been talking about this for years.
Okay. Is it
He
going to
really
be?
wants a doodle mix, and so then I was suggesting an Aussie doodle to be able to like have some herding instinct.
Right.
But
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We need a fence first. We don't have a fence.
That's kind of where the discussion always comes back to, is we need a fence.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we're almost there.
I thought you might get like a King Charles Spaniel or something.
We can borrow yours.
Yes, he would go crazy.
Yeah.
Do y'all get any sleep at all with everything going on?
Oh yeah.
You sleep pretty well. Yeah, we do. Yes, there's a lot going on, but I think we kind of block and tackle. Like we're dividing and conquering right now.
Yeah, it helps
That's
to
good.
have two people.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
most definitely.
I think, and wine is great because it's really seasonal. And so you kind of get to recharge over the winter. We get to take a couple trips and, just sort of sleep a little more. And we know that the summer is going to be crazy and we're going to start tastings again next month. And we're, things are ready to go.
Right.
So we won't sleep that much for the next few months. But after that, we'll get to sleep again.
That's good. Winter hibernation, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. Are you going to have some sort of like gravel bike path or something on the property?
We're talking about
There's-
making some walking trails, but
The good hiking spots are really steep. There's a logging road that kind of goes down the steep western side of the property right now, and we
Right.
walked it a couple days ago, and we tracked it on Strava just to see how far it was and how long it took us. It took us a long time, and it was 0.88 miles.
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's like
Wow, this is
it's
hard.
like 50% slope
Yeah.
in some places. So,
Holy cow.
Yeah.
But it is really beautiful. There's like tons of old oak and interesting plants back there, and it's gonna be
Lots
a
of
cool
deer.
trail.
Lots of deer.
That is cool.
Yeah, but I'd love to have like a great gravel trail through the old Amity Hills and like stay off the roads where
Right.
all of the crazy people drive.
You know who's the right person to ask about these trails is Jessica Cortell, because she has her like secret hiking trails. I think she's got
we
the
probably can't
intelligence.
publish that on the.
Oh, sorry, yeah, we might
There
want to
are
take
no
that out.
secret hiking
Never mind.
trails.
There are none.
Never
Yes, no. But speaking of Jessica Cortell and biking, I know earlier you mentioned Piper's coming over for dinner later on. Kenny's coming over. They're both bicyclists.
Yeah.
why I don't understand why we don't have like a wine industry bicycling.
Well, there is a Max Cycling Club ride this weekend, which
Yes.
I'm also going to pressure Piper and Ben to come to. I mean, that was the first time I met Piper and Ben, was going on a Mac club ride, and like, so we were talking, and then like after about an hour, we like figured out that we both worked in wine, and it was kind of funny.
That is funny.
I met Piper on a bike ride too, actually. Dan was like, I met this woman on this other ride. You need to go riding with her next weekend. And so I showed up. I was like, I don't even know who I'm meeting here, but Dan kind of set that up.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'd be good
Cool community out here. I've been biking with Jessica too.
Right.
Yeah, we should all get out. Let's do a ride.
We need to get like a group text going or something.
Okay.
Yeah. I know a couple years ago, Dan, you were working on an AI project.
Oh yeah.
One, I'm curious, if you can say what the project was, and then like, what is your whole take on like in the last couple months, just the AI boom that's happened? And yes, I know this doesn't refer to wine, but I gotta geek out on
AI
tech.
Stuff is really, really interesting. I mean, Jeanne and I always like have little like side projects going and whatnot.
Right.
And tech is still an interest of mine. And so for a while, I've been working on a language learning app that uses AI to like teach you, language, and kind of geared towards like people who are intermediate and want to get to like more fluency, because a lot of the apps don't help you do that.
Right.
So been using things like ChatGPT and GPT-3 since it was out, and it's just amazing what it can do now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, just mind blowing. So I have no idea what's going to happen over the next couple of years, but like I don't know that people are ready for it. It's crazy.
It is absolutely crazy.
I've got no great insights though about what's going to happen, other than it's going to change everything. Jeanne's a little bit more skeptical.
I'm a little more skeptical. I think it's changing things differently than we might have expected. I mean, I used to earn my living as a freelance writer, and I always felt like that was a very safe kind of thing to be doing, because you could never replace a human writing. Right?
Sure.
That's like the first thing that happened. And so, I think we all thought that robots would come in and automate all the like mechanical tasks.
Right.
And that is
Those are like
much
the
further
hardest
from
ones.
happening. And so I think, it's just going to take a while for us all to kind of digest how things will change. But I do think that even for things like writing, you still need somebody to babysit the AI. You still need a human kind of running things and making decisions about what content you use and what you don't, and what's good and what's not. And so, you can have AI just sort of generate stuff ad nauseum, but the discernment function is definitely not automated in my mind. So, it's hard to imagine that turning into a technological function for me.
Yeah, it's been very interesting just to play with it and see what it could possibly do. Mm-hmm. I do a weekly lunch and learn for my day gig, and I told ChatGPT to write this code, and I was very specific, and it gave me 100% of the code correctly out of the box. It ran. Yeah, and presenting that at the lunch and learn as well, they're like, holy schmolies. Mm-hmm. But I think, in general, even like with that code and anything that is text-based that is generated, it provides a good foundation, but it still it's still rough around the corners.
There's a few iterations that need to happen for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that worries me about that is the copywriting or code generation is sort of like what you do when you're new like when you're right out of college and you're in a job and you're sort of like a lower level employee.
Right.
That's what you're doing, and then you have a supervisor kind of like guiding you through why what you've done is good or bad. And if those jobs get replaced by AI, how do people get from college to like being able to sort of babysit what the AI is doing? I'm not totally sure about that.
You know, I'm not sure either, but I know for me growing up, calculators were not allowed in school at all. And now calculators are like, oh yeah, you need to know what 2 + 2 is? Okay, well, go for it. You know, so it's interesting, and I know that was a longer topic than we spent on anything else, so I should probably get back to wine.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe the question is, what is AI going to automate in the wine world?
I don't know.
I tried to get it to write some newsletter content for us, and it was awful. AI needs to learn a lot more about sparkling wine.
We could really use an AI that cleans barrels too. Cleans barrels and tanks. Right?
That's the one.
That's the thing I need.
Yeah.
Just create some, little nanobots that go inside the barrel and just clean it all. Yeah.
Terroir nanobots.
Last year I interviewed Andy Lytle for the podcast, and I was setting up. He mentioned that he talked to the both of you, and so this was, I think, around February-ish. I would assume, again, this is a big assumption, that it was a typical example of the Oregon wine community kind of helping one another out. And I know, I guess just point blank, right? What are some other collaborations that the two of you have done in the Oregon wine industry to kind of help build up the community?
I mean, everybody talks to everybody, and we've been working alongside Andy for several years at Winters Hill.
Right.
And so, I mean, he's like learned a lot from him, and especially as we were evaluating the vineyard, his guidance was helpful. I mean, obviously, Andrew Davis has been a big part of our story.
Of course.
I would also say, I mean, like, so we have decided to start incorporating a little bit of new oak into our barrel program, and so we went and did some barrel tasting this winter with a few winemakers.
Yeah, I feel like we also need to call out the folks at Winters Hill, Russell, and people like Jason who were working there before. Hugely helpful and just kind of, helping round out our winemaking.
Right.
The industry here has been so helpful. I think we're just getting to the point where now we can start to like help other people. So like, I got the first call the other day. It's like somebody asked for advice on something, and like I ran out to Jeanne, like, Jeanne, somebody asked us for advice. Can you believe it?
So weird.
That's awesome.
No, but I always try and invite. We always try and invite like people out for tastings. Like I think we're making, we're making a lot of different lots of base wine out at Winters Hill, and so I think it's important. I mean, we try and go around and taste with people, but also like invite other people out to come and taste because like that's how we build that knowledge. That's how we build the Oregon kind of idea of what Oregon sparkling is. And so Thomas Hausman, for a long time when he worked at Anami, would organize these base wine tastings where everybody would go and like taste each other's wine, and you would learn a lot from that.
Super helpful.
And we really need to kind of keep that whole spirit moving and probably get that back on track.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important. I mean, we have read all the stories of the pioneers of Oregon starting out and everybody working together, and it's interesting to hear some of those pioneers say, the Oregon wine spirit is kind of like dwindling away. But I think they're seeing a totally different perspective and viewpoint, because I see a bunch of smaller people banding together, and just keeping that spirit alive. I mean, over the Memorial Day weekend, they're doing an indie winemakers kind of thing, and that's awesome. I mean, that's the spirit of Oregon right there.
Yeah, absolutely excited about that.
Yeah. So I have some rapid fire questions,
All right.
and then we can dive into the blind wine a little bit if you want to.
Sure.
All right. Who is your favorite artist to listen to during harvest?
I always put on Eye of the Tiger when we're
Yep.
like rolling in the morning. It's jam. It's like dun, 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 dun.
All right, that's perfect.
Yeah,
That is
that's
great.
my vote too.
Favorite indulgent food?
Dan makes eggs Benedict that I quite enjoy. It's the hollandaise master.
Oh,
It's
nice.
one of my favorites. You know, one food that we don't eat enough of, probably for good reason, is foie gras. I love a good tranche of foie gras.
It's one of those things that I like other people to prepare for me.
I can understand.
Restaurateurs and Dundee Newberg, please
You heard it here.
add it to your menu.
Oh, if you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
I would like to be able to teleport myself, because then I would never have to sit on a plane again.
Or traffic or anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, teleportation just for 99.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to my cleaning barrels. It would be just like wave my hand and have barrels cleaned. I don't know.
No, I think that would be awesome. Favorite superhero?
I knew you were going to ask this, so I did some research.
Uh-oh.
There's a superhero called Moon Girl, she's like the smartest girl in the world, and also she has a pet dinosaur that has teleported in from the Jurassic era, and she can switch brains with the dinosaur at will, and that sounds so awesome. So, Moon Girl.
Why would you want to switch brains with a dinosaur at the drop of a...
Why wouldn't you? It's just like...
I mean, then you get to be the dinosaur? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind stomping
Okay,
around.
yeah. I would love to be a dinosaur. Yes. Okay.
You know, I decided that I'm not really a superhero person. I'm more of like a James Bond type of person. Like
That works.
He drinks champagne. He drinks martinis. Like he travels the world.
And he kicks
I
ass,
prefer,
right?
I prefer my martinis stirred, not shaken. But you know,
Okay. All right.
can't have everything.
Okay, so would you choose James Bond or Jason Bourne?
Bourne has too many like mental problems. Like
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. There it
James
is.
Bond is very unbothered by life, yeah.
Yes. Harvest notes, are they digital or handwritten?
Digital.
The secret of winemaking is that there's a spreadsheet for everything.
Right.
That's especially for sparkling.
Yeah, we have a massive production spreadsheet every year.
Yeah.
Oh, I could only imagine. I assume it's a Google Doc?
Yeah.
Okay. So last book you read, or it could be an Audible book or podcast.
I'm trying to remember the title. I finished the book last night.
Oh.
It's something that my mom gave me for Christmas. It's called Small Things Like These.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, I just read. I think. Did you recommend it?
I did.
No, you
Trust?
No. I'm
No.
not done with it.
Oh.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
Okay.
It's about these like video game creators and kind of this like intermixed love story and.
You recommended it to me.
Yeah, I
also
recommended
read
it to you, but it's essentially about a novel about these people creating games in the 90s, and it's fascinating and fun and
I'll have to check
very,
that one
very
out.
enjoyable. If you
Yeah.
ever played games like Doom or Commander Keen.
No, never. I've never played any of those games. Yes, no. So the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is getting ready to come out in a couple weeks, and my daughter's like, I can't wait. I got her hooked. So it's yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shall we dive into the wine?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So I will say I had never heard of this producer, and then when I went to Okta, Ron at the sommelier at Okta came up to me as I was leaving, and he's like, "You got to try this wine." I'm like, "Okay." And then he said, Seth Morgan Long is the winemaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the label name again?
NIEW.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I figured, I know that you like Seth Morgan Long's
We do.
wines and, the Okta connection and kind of try to
Very
bring it
cool.
all together.
Nice.
What vineyard is this from? Do you know?
It's the NIE.
In their vineyard. It's
Yeah.
in the McMinnville AVA.
I thought it was Chehalem. No, Eola Amity. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
neighbors. We should go say hi.
We should.
Yeah. No, I think he's also from Tech, and is taking care of the vineyard himself. I think it's on his fourth or fifth leaf, and just doing some great stuff. I reached out to taste, and he's like, "Oh, it's already sold to wine shops and all that good fun stuff." But he's like, "I'm gonna be dropping it off at E&R on Friday. Go grab some." And so I did.
Nice.
And so
Very cool.
Well, thank you for bringing it. It's very
Yeah.
tasty.
Thanks for sharing it.
yeah, no, thank you. Do you have any questions or anything for me or anything else that I should bring up?
I feel like we should turn the rapid fire questions around.
Uh-oh. Go for it.
Which superhero would you be?
Oh boy, superhero. Superman is always a good one, but Doctor Strange is, right there, a little bit of I'll go with Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and favorite superpower?
Teleportation.
Teleportation.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah, no, teleportation, just to be able to just go anywhere at any time. Ugh.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay. Cake or pie?
I'd probably go cake.
Oh, but you're kind of on the fence. That's interesting. Usually people are very clearly in one camp or the other.
It kind of depends on the mood,
Okay.
but I could definitely go either way. Down deep, it would probably be like a cheesecake.
Okay.
Just boom, that would be it right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
And favorite indulgent food?
Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
Oh my! And not just any fried. I mean, it's got to be like down south, deep down south fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It has to have all the grease. It has to be artery clogging with biscuits and.
All right.
Good.
Then the obvious next question is, do you have a favorite hot sauce?
It depends. Not really. If I want to go like on the deep end, the Apollo hot sauce on hot wings, just a drop or two in that in something, just like it's so overpowering. But there's a brand called Truff. They have like a pasta sauce and like a mayonnaise and everything, but they also have their own hot sauces. And I've been playing around with those a little bit.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Phew, I passed. Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Well, anything else?
No. Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this was great. I really appreciate you taking the time today. All right. Thank you.